Hello everyone, Curious Corduroy here, and before we get into our news for this week, I wanted to give you guys a quick update in regards to that PlayStation Now 12-month subscription deal. So I made my video last week letting people know that there was a workaround into getting a 12-month subscription that required you to go onto a desktop browser to access the PlayStation Store so you could still grab that 12-month subscription. Now, unfortunately, a day after I made that video, it seems like Sony caught on rather fast as to what people were doing, and unfortunately, they took away not only the link, but they completely removed the 12-month subscription option from the PlayStation Store website. So unfortunately, it is no longer available. So they caught on really fast in regards to that. So if you were interested in grabbing that, I hope that you were able to get one before Sony caught on. I managed to grab a subscription that same day before they canceled it, and I'm good until next year, April of next year actually. So unfortunately it's gone. So if you were interested, I really hope that you were able to grab one. But unfortunately, Sony sneakily and very quickly got rid of that option. But with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get into our news of the week. But before we get there, if you could please click that like button and subscribe if you like what you hear, that would help out my channel a lot. So in regards to PlayStation Now, like I said before, I actually did grab that 12-month subscription and I wanted to check it out just to see how it was. And I gotta be honest, I'm pleasantly surprised. I was one of those people who was a complete naysayer when it came to streaming games, and although I'm still not 100% on board, I did have a pleasantly nice experience with PlayStation Now. So I went through and I tested a PS2 game, a PS3 game, and a PS4 game, all via streaming. Now, I just want to clarify something here because a lot of people get confused. On PS Now, PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 4 games can be streamed, but they can also be downloaded so you can play them locally. It's the PlayStation 3 games where you unfortunately are stuck streaming. However, my experience was actually pretty nice. The first thing I did was boot up Street Fighter 3 Third Strike on PlayStation 3. It booted up in about a minute to a minute and a half after I hit stream. And once it started streaming, I was really impressed. Visually, it looked great. Obviously, it's a PlayStation 3 game, so it's not going to have a super high resolution. But gameplay-wise, I experienced very little to no lag playing through the arcade mode. Now, I didn't play online, so perhaps that could be a different experience, but playing offline, it felt really good. I was pleasantly surprised at how good it felt. I was able to play, it was playable, I didn't really have any noticeable lag or any kind of issue. The second game I streamed was Kinetica on PlayStation 2, which was a PlayStation 2 launch title that I remember playing a demo for back in the day. And again, it booted up. I actually had an issue when it first booted up. I selected Kinetica, I waited about 2 minutes, nothing happened, and then it crashed. It said it couldn't load the game. So I tried again, and within about 20 seconds, Kinetica booted up. Got to the menu, started racing, no noticeable lag. The resolution wasn't great, but it is a PS2 game. So my experience there was actually really nice. It's not until we get to the PlayStation 4 side of things that I actually started to experience some issues with streaming. So I started streaming Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, which is a fighting game which requires precise inputs, and everything was looking good at first, great resolution, no lag in the menus. It wasn't until I got into an actual fight where I noticed issues. And once things started getting crazy, I had a ton of input delay on my controller, and my resolution actually started to drop a little bit, and things got a tiny bit pixelated. So as it stands, it seems like streaming PS3 games and PS2 games is probably going to be fine, but PS4 games still need a lot of work. But at the end of the day, all of this is really going to be dependent upon your internet connection. And I have pretty good internet here at my house. So I was pleasantly surprised, and I gotta be really honest here. The idea of just browsing a library of games, finding one you want to play, hitting stream, waiting 30 seconds to a minute and a half for it to boot up, and then you're playing, without having to download or install anything is very nice. So with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get to the reason why you're probably here, and that's actual game news. So in our next bit of news, it was announced last week that Max Payne and Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne, which is an absolute mouthful of a title, would be receiving remakes. Remedy will be entering a new publishing agreement with Rockstar Games to do these remakes. The games will be developed by Remedy and financed by Rockstar, and the budget is said to be in line with a typical Remedy AAA game. I was never huge into the Max Payne games, but I did play a decent amount of them back in the day, and I am happy that Remedy will be developing the remakes instead of Rockstar. Rockstar did develop Max Payne 3, but I wasn't really a big fan of that game. I'm probably in the minority with that opinion, but I remember the game not feeling quite like Max Payne, and it being really difficult. I don't know, maybe I just sucked at the game. Either way, Remedy has come a long way since those early days, having created cult hits like Alan Wake and Control. So it'll be really interesting to see how these remakes turn out. In our last bit of news, it looks like Microsoft may be using that huge ass wallet to pay for chip priority to help manufacture their series line of consoles. This story is from the folks at the Xbox Era podcast, but the information has been transcribed by PureXbox.com. They go on to say, around April last year, I got a DM saying Microsoft's going to have a lot of consoles available this fall, and they did in the end, didn't they? Microsoft paid for chip priority at the factories, which is why we saw so much more, and are still seeing so much more Xbox stock now. To me, it's a smart investment. End of quote. Now keep in mind, this is just a rumor. I mean, they got this information via a Twitter DM. So take it with a whole factory of salt. So while it is possible that this priority was used to help manufacture series consoles, it could also have been used for other things. You have to keep in mind that Microsoft is an incredibly large company that manufactures a lot of devices and services. Microsoft could also be using these chips for tablets, laptops, and PCs, and because they're a larger partner, they could easily get priority here. Anything left over would probably use towards their series consoles. Now, is this underhanded? Oh, absolutely. But it's a business, and Microsoft needs to do everything they can to keep up with demands. Plus, both Sony and Microsoft technically do the same thing on the software side of things with exclusive titles or by buying out whole companies and developers. So, at the end of the day, it's a business. But if you are interested in grabbing a Series X, it looks like they might be more plentiful in the coming months. I know that Impulse actually recently snagged one via Amazon. So if you guys keep an eye out on Amazon's website, they seem to be getting them in stock faster than most other places. So it looks like they're going to start to become more plentiful. But I am Curious Corduroy. That is the end of the video. If you guys like what you heard, please like and subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments below about not only Max Payne, have you experienced PlayStation Now streaming, and what are your thoughts on it? And also, what do you think about this rumor in regards to Microsoft paying for chip priority at these factories to help manufacture their devices? I will see you guys in the next video. Please always remember to be excellent to one another.